El Salvador is a land where history doesn't sit quietly behind museum glass. It breathes, it shifts, and sometimes it tests you. Today, I'm chasing a story that lives somewhere between archaeology and myth, between a forgotten Lenca city and a volcanic lake said to be home to a legendary creature. This is not the world everyone knows. This is older, quieter, harder to reach, and maybe that's the point.
Today, I am in San Miguel. I just happened to be in a Starbucks because things did not go according to plan today. So I planned to visit Quelepa, a Lenca archaeological site, and I really wanted to go because nobody visits there. The Lenca are as important as the Maya and the people. They're one of the original indigenous groups in El Salvador, but not a whole lot of people know about them. And the archaeological site, it's in the middle of nowhere. I knew that going in. I also knew that there wasn't a whole lot there. Like, it's no Tikal, it's not even a Tazu Mall. But I felt like I had to go precisely because so little of it endures. Here's what happened.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The main roads in El Salvador are fantastic, smooth, confident. They really set you up for success. The problems begin when you leave them. Welcome to rural El Salvador, where the people are incredibly kind and the roads are emotionally challenging. The scenery out here is absolutely breathtaking, and at no point do I feel unsafe in a people way. The only threat is the road itself, which seems deeply uninterested in my suspension. This footage is sped up for your viewing pleasure, but let me be clear. I am driving very, very slowly, respectfully, carefully, spiritually. And then, there it is, the moment I had to stop. Did I technically have to stop? Maybe not. The white truck in front of me powered through like it had faith, clearance, and a backup plan. But me? I paused. I'm a single female in a foreign country where I don't speak the language. What if I got stuck? And more importantly, how long would the rescue take, if it came at all?
Rough terrain, check. Cows, check. Crossing a river, no thank you. So on the map, the online map, Google Maps and Waze, the bridge is named No Hay Puente. Spanish speakers, hush. All I saw was the word puente, which means bridge. Then I get there and it makes sense. No hay puente means there is no bridge. El Salvador, seriously, if you want people to visit the ruins, build a bridge. And the thing is, my car, my SUV, it might have made it. It might have, but we will never, ever know, because I was taught you don't get into water when you can't see the bottom, and I've heard too many horror stories about rivers just whisking people downstream, and I didn't want to take that chance. So now I'm in Starbucks because I immediately needed comfort food after that experience. Although I don't normally go to Starbucks when I'm traveling because I try to support local. This is a special circumstance. I'm going to enjoy my chai latte, and then I am going to head to Laguna de Alegría. One of those two is where I'm heading next.
I was starting to lose faith that I was ever going to get anywhere. Spiritually, emotionally, geographically. Once again, the footage is sped up for the video, but in real life, I'm crawling along at a blistering 2 miles per hour. At this speed, I have had time to reflect on my life choices, my ancestors, and whether I should have packed a snack. I haven't seen a road sign in at least an hour, possibly longer. Time is meaningless out here. And then, at long last, salvation. A sign, proof of civilization. A gentle reminder that I am, in fact, still on the road heading to the lagoon, and not just wandering freely into legend.
You have arrived.
Hola.
At this point, there is entirely too much conversation happening. The ticket attendant is explaining something to me. What, I have no idea, because my Spanish has officially clocked out after the journey I just survived to get here. I have been through mud, rocky roads, and emotional distress. I do not have the capacity. I'm not sure if she wanted exact change, my life story, or a signed affidavit. But honestly, please, just keep the change. Give me the ticket. I'm done negotiating with this day.
That poor lady at the check-in counter, or whatever that was, had no idea how over this entire situation I was. She could have taken that $5 bill and just walked away with it. I didn't care about the change. I don't know what she was trying to say. I don't care. To get in here, it cost $2.25 for foreigners, and then there's an additional $1 to park. Again, she could have just taken the $5 bill. That was the worst road I've ever been on in my life. I didn't think the car was going to make it, yet I knew that it was going to because smaller cars were making it, motorcyclists were making it. So it's doable, it's just awful. And I took my time because it was so rickety that it was uncomfortable. So anyway, you have to really want to get here to get here. I need a moment before I can do anything else. Like, I just need a second to chill. It's beautiful, by the way, but when I looked at the map initially, it wasn't clear that I was coming way up here on the top of the mountain, and it wasn't clear how far off the main road that it really was. It also wasn't clear how windy the roads were and how bad that last road was to get here. I'm happy I did it because this is beautiful. Whew. Whew. Taking a second.
Is Laguna de Alegría worth the drive? Let me know in the comments. While you're at it, since you've made it this far in the video, please click the like button. It helps more than you know. As always, thank you to Timeless Stories of El Salvador for the inspiration.
According to legend, long ago in the 10th century, when the earth still whispered the names of gods and spirits, there lived a Lenca princess named Shiri in the sacred city of Quelepa.
Shiri was born with piercing green eyes, like jade touched by lightning. And from the moment she opened them, her father, the king, loved her more than anything in the world. She was the jewel of the kingdom. Draped in emerald robes by her mother to match her enchanted eyes, Shiri grew into a beauty whose name was sung by bards and murmured by would-be suitors. But she cared nothing for courtship or domestic duty. While her mother dreamed of a wedding and grandchildren, Shiri dreamed of something different. Often, she would sneak into the warriors' training grounds where her brother, the prince, taught her how to shoot and fight. She was quick, precise, and fearless. As a token of their bond, her brother gifted her a small axe of green obsidian, mined from distant lands. Its edge was as sharp as truth, and she cherished it more than gold.
These were times of change for the Lenca. Foreign tongues filled the markets. New gods demanded space at the altars. Some people that came brought peace. Other newcomers brought ruin.
One day, a shaman named Lamanai arrived in Quelepa. No one had seen him before. His eyes burned with secrets. He begged to speak with the king, claiming his village had been razed by a tribe of bloodthirsty warriors. Only he survived. He warned that Quelepa would suffer the same fate unless the king sacrificed what was most precious to him.
But the king made a mistake. Startled, he glanced at Shiri, who was standing nearby her brother.
Lamanai, turning, saw her for the first time, and his eyes filled not with awe, but with lust. Her brother stepped forward, placing himself between the shaman and his sister. The king, oblivious to it all, thanked Lamanai and offered him food, clothing, and shelter. That night, a great sacrifice was held. Offerings burned and animals bled. Shiri, her heart heavy, stood ready to give up her treasured green obsidian axe to the gods, when a scream shattered the air. Fire climbed the sky. Quelepa was under attack. Amidst chaos, Shiri's father and mother were taken by guards into hiding in the palace. Her brother led the warriors to the city's defense. Shiri took charge of the women and children, leading them through secret paths to safety. She told everyone to remain in hiding, but she could not while her people fought.
Shiri slipped into the palace to fetch the rest of her weapons, only to find the guards slain. And then her worst fear came true. She saw that her parents had been killed as well. Their royal blood soaked the stones. But she had no time to mourn, because outside the palace, the battle still raged. Her beloved brother still stood, but then, from the shadows, Lamanai struck him in the back, like the snake in the grass that he was. Her beloved brother fell.
Shiri, stunned, saw the hunger in Lamanai's eyes and knew Lamanai was not a survivor. He was the destroyer of cities and villages he claimed to fear. He was not merely among the invaders. He led them.
Without hesitation, Shiri loosed an arrow, and it struck Lamanai in the arm. He fell. She knew it wasn't a fatal shot, but it was enough to get the job done. It gave her time to run to her brother and help him stand.
Her brother told her to run, to live, for their family, for Quelepa. You are queen. But the people, she protested. You are all that remains of the family, he cut her off. If you die, we are lost. We will fight till our last breath to give you a chance to escape. Shiri shed tears, kissed his cheek, and vanished into the night. Weary, but determined to survive, Shiri ran through the forest, bleeding grief, guided only by the voices of gods and memory. In the morning, she climbed a tree to see above the jungle canopy. Smoke darkened the distant sky. Her beloved city had fallen. Her brother had surely joined her parents in the world beyond. He taught her to seek high ground, so she made for Tecapa, the mountain where the gods dwelt.
Tecapa is a stratovolcano towering over 5,000 feet. It stands as a silent giant, its last eruption date unknown. The earth around it remains restless, however, frequently trembling with the tremors of earthquakes. While a difficult journey on foot for Shiri, it's only a short drive from Quelepa today.
Suddenly, Shiri heard a voice. His voice. The wicked Lamanai had found her. She had run all night, but not far enough. He was tracking her, hunting her, wounded but alive. And he was not alone. His goons were with him. Your family is dead because your father failed the gods, Shiri, he said. He did not sacrifice you, the thing he cherished most. I am your king now. You are mine. Bow before me and all will be forgiven. You will give me many sons, Shiri. Shiri's green eyes burned. So she fought back as she ran. She loosed every arrow with a prayer and struck down Lamanai's men one by one. She reached the peak of Tecapa with only Lamanai and one of his men on her trail. But now, she was out of arrows. Finally, she reached the summit. The sun shone bright and warmed her face. Then, pain, sharp and sudden, seared through her leg. An arrow. Lamanai and his man had found her. She stumbled, the strength drained from her limbs. She could go no further. With blood on her hands, she lifted her face to the heavens and cried out to the gods. Her voice, hoarse and trembling, rose like smoke into the twilight.
Lamanai caught Shiri and dragged her by her hair. Shiri thought she was alone in the world, but then the gods answered.
Before her, in a vision clear as dawn, stood her family, her mother and father, regal and kind, her brother, noble and brave. They smiled upon her, not with sorrow, but with pride. A warmth wrapped around her, like a farewell and a blessing.
And then they vanished, like mist at sunrise. At first, Shiri thought they'd left her, but then she realized the gods had simply transformed them.
In their place, descending from the summit like a sign from the sacred beyond, came a turquoise-browed Motmot, its feathers aflame with color, its eyes bright with knowing. It attacked Lamanai. In the confusion, Shiri escaped Lamanai's grasp and hid. Then, the celestial bird rested on a branch and let out a cry so pure, so piercing, that it echoed across the valley and shook the bones of the mountain. You have angered the gods, Shiri, and they demand a sacrifice. Lamanai spat as he looked for her. My most prized possession. Right now, that is you.
Shiri was fading. Her breath came shallow. Her blood flowed like a river back to the earth that birthed her. Darkness crept in at the edges of her vision, but her spirit, unyielding, burned with the last embers of defiance.
Mustering all of her strength, Shiri rose. With trembling hands, she reached for her final weapon. Not just a blade, but a memory, a promise. The green obsidian axe gifted by her brother, carved from volcanic glass older than the thought of kings. Summoning all that remained of her strength, all her love, her fury, her grief, she hurled it through the air. her soul carried in its flight.
The blade struck true. Lamini reached for his chest, staggered, and then fell, the life draining from his eyes like ink upon stone. His final soldier reached for him in vain because the mountain roared once more.
The turquoise-browed Mot-Mot sang its loudest, and the earth split open. Flames surged from the deep, and in a single, thunderous breath, both shaman and servant were swallowed by the wrath of the gods. Shitty's beloved axe went down in the fire with them. The Mot-Mot ceased its song and flew into Shitty, joining together with her forever. Never seen, but always felt. Silence fell. The earth closed and stood still. Broken in body, but never in spirit, Shitty crawled until her strength gave out. Her eyes shut. She had given everything. Her home, her family, her blood.
The gods saw their faithful servant, and they wept for her bravery.
They cradled her in their sacred earth, and where her body lay, they formed a green lagoon, shimmering with the color of her eyes. There, she was reborn, not as a girl, but as a mermaid spirit, eternal and radiant.
As high up as I am, it's hard to believe that I'm only at the foot of the Tecapa volcano. Today, this place is called Laguna de Alegría, the Lake of Joy. Its waters gleam with an otherworldly green. According to science, it's just volcanic materials.
But the elders know better. The wise say that on misty mornings, a beautiful woman can be seen resting by the water or swimming in its depths, her bright green eyes glinting like jade obsidian.
To some, she is no more than a myth. But those who believe call her Shitty, the green flame, and the last queen of Quelepa.
Stay curious, be inspired, find freedom, wander elsewhere. I will see you in the next one.
But I'm avoiding eyes every time that I'm out, 'cause it's scary being seen in daylight. Like if they're looking close, then maybe they might see right through me, see right through me. And I don't know why I just can't have it, what everybody seem to take for granted. Wondering if I'm from another planet, somewhere far away. I might as well be on the moon, probably be as confused as any other afternoon, freaking out here in my living room. I might as well be on the moon, never really get used to the things that everybody else do. I might as well be on the moon. They're having fun without worrying about looking dumb. They feel alive instead of feeling numb. And I wonder what that would feel like. I wonder what that would feel like. It must be nice. But I'm avoiding eyes every time that I'm out, 'cause it's scary being seen in daylight. Like if they're looking close, then maybe they might see right through me, see right through me. And I don't know why I just can't have it, what everybody seem to take for granted. Wondering if I'm from another planet, somewhere far away. I might as well be on the moon, probably be as confused as any other afternoon, getting so lonely. Feeling like this. Feels like something's got a hold